What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, Tusa Eggers. Two parts to today's video. We're putting in a one-wire alternator in the old Centurion. Now this is for a 460 big block 1988 year model on an F350 basically. First part though is going to be about the troubleshooting I've been going through for the MSD atomic EFI system I put in this thing. Almost a year ago now, and it's been giving me fits for about the last 6 months where it just completely dies. And I've tried many times to troubleshoot it. I was getting good grounds and good power to the unit. I think I might have fixed it though. So we're gonna unbox the alternator right quick. I'll talk real quick about that. Then we're gonna pull the truck in and we'll go from there. Now when you're ordering for the big block, this is now the second one I have got because I ordered wrong. On the Summit website, they have the Powermaster, one wire, and it says large case. There is more than one large case. They're talking about the actual casing, not the mounting holes. There's 3 different versions of the 3G alternators basically. You've got a horizontally 3-bolt mount, hard mount. then you have 2 of the swivet or pivot mounts. One of them is a 7 inch and the other one is an 8 8.25. That's the general terminology, but it's more like a 6.93 inch whatever and an 8.11 inch whatever. Mine takes the larger, the 8.25 mount. So I just assumed when I ordered it that it was the large case. So I ordered it and it's this little bitty thing. This one should be the right one. We will check it right quick and make sure. Now I'm upgrading to a 200 amp alternator. Comes with our wiring diagram. It's pretty basic though. And here is the alternator. Let's hope I don't drop it. That looks more like it. So if you're trying to measure yours to see, just measure from the mounting hole over here to the hold down screw over here, and I'm getting about 8.25. So finally I got the right one. Now this is internally regulated. I can get rid of my external regulator and hopefully have enough juice to power not only the rear window normally, but also be able to power my 13K winch. So that's what I'm looking to do. And I initially was hoping that this was going to solve my dying problem with the MSD. So for those that are here for that portion of it, it just started randomly about 6 months ago where I'd be driving along and it initially was only happening at idle stopped. And no bullshit, I'd be like at a left-hand turn somewhere and I'd go to hit the gas and the thing would just die. You know, towing a big trailer, heavy stuff, and I got oncoming traffic and I'd go to start my left-hand turn, it would just die. I'm like, oh crap, I can't have the missus drive it like this, you know, who knows. Then it started happening more frequently, and then it started happening where I'd crank it up, it'd start, and within the first minute or two, it would do it. And to fix it, I would just pop the hood, I'd jiggle some wires, I'd unplug it, plug it back in, and then it would start working again. And it wouldn't do it the rest of the day, but it just kept getting more and more consistent. So I was thinking maybe there was a problem with my alternator, my power supply. I double checked all my lines. I even hooked up a voltmeter or a multimeter to the power supply and the ground at different times and just let it run. And I had constant ground and constant power. And it would still die. And even when it did happen, I couldn't repeat it. I'd jiggle the wires, it'd come back on, but I couldn't repeat it. About a week ago, almost a week ago now, I double checked my battery ground wire to the block, and from the block to the frame. The ground on the block was terrible. You know, that whoever did it before me, they used like a single lot welding wire. So it's big, heavy duty, and I just assumed it was good. Don't do that. You know what assuming does, right? They actually put it on this rusted ass 3/8 bolt on the exhaust manifold, which, don't get me wrong, a lot of cars have their ground right to the block on an exhaust manifold bolt, but this one, the bolt wasn't even tight, and it blew my mind. I started checking all the bolts. Like when I tried to remove, it was a stud with a nut and then another nut to hold the ground on. When I tried to break loose the second nut to get the ground wire off, the stud just started coming out and it wasn't even tight. And then I double checked and half of the studs on the manifolds were loose and there was one even missing. So anyway, get rid of that, go straight to the block. I found a nice 7/16 pre-tapped hole that far from where this thing was grounded. So I chased the threads in that 7/16, got a fresh bolt, I filed the face off and put all of that back together, made up a new grounding strap from that mount, or that bolt, or grounding bolt to the frame, cleaned all of those surfaces up, and it hasn't done it since. It hasn't died since. Now I've only driven it one time, but I started it and shut it down and started it and shut it down many, many times, probably at least a dozen times in that one day because we were dropping off animals at the county fair. And so every time I've started it since then, it's just start and run and it hasn't died. So if you are troubleshooting an MSD Atomic EFI and it's just dying on you, I don't know for sure yet, but that sure seems like it's fixed it so far. I'm gonna go get the truck pulled in and then we'll start on the alternator. And I'll show you the ground. Well, it had to prove me wrong, didn't it? Holy crap. You guys can't see it, but the handheld is completely dead right now. Nothing at all. Dang it, dang it, dang it. In a week, it hasn't happened one time. So what I do to fix it is just get in here and jiggle the wires, and I can usually hear the injectors ticking when it comes back to life. There it goes. Every time I start this, the voltage is sitting right around battery voltage instead of the 14.2. Usually takes about a minute for the voltage to creep up towards the 14.2. So now we're back to hoping that the alternator fixes this, because I was thinking maybe weird voltages is causing the MSD to get all funky. I've already looked it up. A new MSD brain box is over 500 bucks. So you can see how big of a negative terminal is on here. That's this one. That one is for my winch. But it runs down here. You can just barely see it. Right down there. That's my new grounding point. It was on that stud right there, and it was just terrible. So now today we're going to be getting rid of the external regulator, adding a bigger power lead. So right now we've got this red one right here coming off the alternator up to the battery, and that's probably big enough, but I've got better stuff, so we'll go ahead and swap that out. That's the brain box, or the power box, that controls everything, and that's the one that I just jiggle that wire next to it and it seems to start working again. I don't know. All right, so first up we're gonna go ahead and get all of my terminals on the negative post disconnected, which obviously there is a buttload of them here. I think I have 5, and I'm just now noticing that my ground from the alternator currently is teeny tiny. So we'll be replacing that. I'm just looking at it, I can probably clock the new alternator so that the outlets are up here. So let's take a quick look at that, see what we got to do. So if it sits in there like that, ground is way over here, power's right there. I could rotate it one turn this way. That would put the ground over here and the power up here. They had to custom make this for me. They had none in stock. All right, so it looks like we do need to pop this pulley off after a quick gargler search. Hopefully this will do it no problem. It's a 24 millimeter. Yeah, there we go. And this is, I just got this, did a quick little video on it. I'll probably splice this part into that video. This is the new DCF 923, just got it in the mail about 30 minutes ago. All right, let's hope that I'm not about to just ruin 300 bucks or whatever this damn thing costs. It was somewhere around 300. This just does not look like it's loosening up at all. I'm gonna pull this off. Crappy thing is I really don't think I have to do this. Oh, fuck me. Now I'm gonna have to redo, not redo, but I'm gonna have to get those brushes reinstalled. All right, so it is moving. It's just moving incredibly slow. And I'm trying not to break the casting. You can see it's just about there. For crying out loud. It is a snug fit. Hopefully I can get her back together. There it goes. That's a lot of alternator in there. Okay, so that is the way I want it right there. I'm actually going to get some dowels of some sort because this thing is not going to spin once I get it back together. So I've got these longer stainless steel M6 screws. I might just be able to use these to draw it right back down. It looks pretty square. Now we just got to make sure we drive it down evenly. Now our screws are probably going to get in the way. I can grab the originals. They'll probably reach. Yep. I don't know. It appears to have done the trick. So it'll be mounted like that. Positive is now up, my negative's right here, so I got both lines going that way. There's a trick to these brushes here, and I will share that with you now. You can take a wire. Most brushes have a detent in them somewhere. So like these brushes, you can see there's a hole in them. There's a hole right here. So you get your brush installed. Sometimes you actually have to push it a little bit deeper in there. Like I'll use this little screwdriver here. Take a piece of wire. Insert it through the holes. There we go. Now that one's held in place. I'm gonna do the same thing with the next one. So now our brushes are held in place with this piece of wire. So now all I gotta do is reinsert this like so. Once I get my screws in, I just pull that wire out. Another handy little trick, don't tighten screws all the way down initially. Get everything started, then go back and snug. And always crisscross your patterns. Use this just because it's got a bigger handle. I can get a little more oomph on it. Okay. So in theory, that should fix that. That'll go back to there. This goes in here. I just really wasn't confident on that gap left on the that alternator casing, but I went back and double checked the footage, and it looks right. So now we're going to go ahead and finish getting this the old one out of here. And from what I can tell, I don't need to hook into anything with the external regulator, the external voltage regulator. It looks like I can just completely bypass it altogether. There we go. It's amazing how much smaller this one is. The overall footprint anyway. Well, I just got done making up my 2 new cables here, and I think they turned out great. The old wire I took off was a 6, so I made 2 4-gauge, 1 power, 1 ground. Man, that ground one was a bugger. The height of this truck is just high enough, or well, between the height of the truck and where my grounding bolt is on the actual engine. It's just at the very edge of my reach, so I gotta like kind of sit up. I need to get one of those creepers that has the raisable back on it. Anywho, I slather or goober up these things with dielectric grease. This doesn't do anything to aid in actual electrical connection, but it does stop it from, or at least help prevent corrosion. They do actually make a grease that enhances electrical connections, and you can look into that if that's what you need, but I've never had a problem. As long as your connections are clean when you start and they stay clean, you should be just fine. Now I'm gonna put this stuff around it, the sheathing, once I get it in position, and since I don't really have a boot for this positive connection over here, I'm gonna cut, you'll see it, but I'm gonna cut part of the sheathing there so that it overlaps the bolt. You know, I couldn't find a single YouTube video on putting a 1-wire alternator on a 460, an 88 460, not one. And that's why I do this stuff. Okay, that should be a good solid connection there. Yep. I'll run this guy down, over, up, and around. Get her hooked up to our bateria. Whatever. So that's what I mean by that. I just cut a little flap there. So now when it goes over my wire, I push it all the way up to the mounting bolt. That little flap will cover the rest of the lug. Yep, perfect. I always hate this stuff. Love it. Love-hate relationship, right? I think we're starting to close in on her. Okay, grounds are good, positives are good. Couple zip ties, and we are off to the races. I think we are all set. Do a quick QA check here. Our good power, good ground, everything's snug. Got secondary grounds down there to the frame. Things hooked up here. Our main line going back to the cab, our power line. Give y'all just a real quick look-see. That's the back of the alternator. And that's that little flap I was talking about. Good ground is way down there, right there. Frame ground is back over here. Everything else is tied up and out of the way. So this is that handheld that I'm always talking about. The battery voltage up here, I don't even go by that, even though it's dang close. I go by this. We hit our dash, right there, we're at 12.2, 1-ish, which is kind of low. 12.7 is not where it should be. It's climbing quicker this time. That's more like it. Took her a second. I'm kind of curious now with my back glass. Now that we have a full 14 plus volts. Oh, powered through it. Better than normal. I want to see what my windows do over here. Way faster. They usually struggle just a little bit. Yeah, buddy. The volt gauge is reading right. Still at 14.5, 14.6, so that's normal. 14.2 I thought is where it should be, but I'm not going to worry about 14.6. Let's hear what my fan blower fan sounds like. That's the best it's ever sounded. And look at that. Didn't even change the voltmeter. Volts. Let's see if it does anything when I hit the windows. Not much. Nice. All right, update to come whether or not she stalls out again. Make sure nothing's on fire under here. A little warm, not hot. Well, shoot, yeah. There you go. I don't know about the longevity yet. We'll see. I've read a couple bad reviews on Powermaster. Tough Stuff or Tough Something or Other was another one. But this worked so far. We'll see. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that it fixes this MSD issue. But that's all I got for this video. If you got any thoughts on any of this, please throw something in the comments and we'll figure it out. See ya.